to the feature match area and see what happens. Hello and welcome. It is time for round 8. On the right of your screen, Jack Kiefer is 12 years old. He's also 6-1. Came with his 16-year-old brother and his 8-year-old brother. All three of them played the main event. He's the last brother standing, though.
So here he is, and it's probably pretty exciting for Jack. And getting up on the feature match stage, this is the second, especially young player we've had on the feature match stage.
Right,
so
we had Lil J.
We had Lil J, and I wanted to check up on him. People might be curious.
Yeah, he's out.
He's out.
He picked up 3 losses already,
yep.
So he will not be playing on day 2. He got to 3-0, and then the wheels kind of fell off. For what it's worth, though, I saw him in the Planeswalker Lounge playing his deck for fun against John Finkel and John's deck. So I think he still had an okay day.
That's great.
Even if he's not going to get to play tomorrow.
So
Jack Kiefer, though, 1 win. The winner of this match will clinch day 2. 7-2 is the mark that you need if you want to come back and draft this format tomorrow.
And even the loser still has a chance to win.
Oh, yeah,
in the following round.
The loser can still win next round for sure. Clint Hawk Idol gets activated by Gus Skimmer. Clunks over for 2. Burst Lightning for the Celestia Guild Mage. That's a big deal.
Jack off to a great start. Gets that Clint Hawk Idol out. Gets it triggered. Using his mana really well.
Yeah, he and his brothers are from Colorado. Meanwhile, on the other side, Daniel Forster is from Kennewick, Washington. Came down with 4 buddies, all of whom are still in contention to make day 2.
They must have done some good practicing together out there in
Guess
Kennewick.
so. I don't know, is that a car ride or?
You could drive
5
it.
people, and you could.
Yeah.
I know people drove down from Canada. Kennewick's a little closer than that.
Yeah, the Great American Road Trip down to help make some magic history. So here's Jack.
Wow. Gus Skimmer goes to the air alongside Glenn Hawk Idol. There's 4 more damage.
Yeah. Jack really effectively making use of his mana. You know, he's using that Glen Hawk Idol trigger each turn by playing an artifact and then using his other mana to do something too.
Yeah, his deck is kind of interesting. It's basically a blue-white artifacts deck, primarily, but he's got fully 4 bounce lands, all of which produce red and one of his other colors. So he's splashing for Niv Mizzet.
And why not?
Yeah.
You know, you get your opponent on the defensive with your early artifacts, and then when they stop those and use their removal because they have to, play a big Niv Mizzet.
Yeah.
4/4 flyer, draw some cards, kill some creatures.
He's got a Burst Lightning in there as well.
Here
it is Tezzeret's Gambit. Draw a couple cards. Doesn't actually seem to have any white mana yet, but it doesn't seem to be hurting him either. His hand looks mostly blue. Means he can't turn the Glen Hawk Idol on, is what it means.
Right. Has to keep playing artifacts to do it.
All right, here is Scatter the Seeds. Daniel may gang block this Cathodian, try to take it out.
Yeah, the Gus Skimmer did get flying. You
Yeah.
saw Jack use 4 mana for his Tezzeret's Gambit, then play an island and give the Skimmer flying. Here come our Sepperling tokens. Likely to hit the being immediately. And indeed, they all block the Cathodian. Yeah, Forster down to 12 here. That's only 3 turns of hits from those flyers.
If he can turn the Glen Hawk on.
Yeah.
Daniel Forster's deck is just green-red.
Yeah, which makes it all the more frustrating, I'm sure, for him right now that he can't find a second red mana to play his Gorehorn Minotaurs.
I think he found it.
There it is. That's
Not interested in Gorehorn Minotaurs, though. 2 copies of Ulamog's Crusher in his list.
Wow. That's pretty good. And, you know, Jack's been sitting on a removal spell here, but it's a Dismember. That's not quite enough for that Ulamog's Crusher.
Could have killed the Soulbright Flame Kid in theory, but it's hard to know to do that.
And he used all his mana every turn. He could have paid Phyrexian mana for the Tezzeret's Gambit. That is one a subtle play there to look out for, though, with the Flamekin. When someone gets to 5 mana, the next turn they have the potential to go right to 8 by activating their ability 4 times.
Jack does have more flyers. Right, he's got another Glenhawk Idol.
Look at that.
Now, can he turn this clock up another turn? Right, he can attack for 4 here and then 6 next turn, but 10 is not 12.
Yeah, getting to 10 a little bit harder. And he's really got to figure out what to do with that.
He doesn't have an Ulamog Crusher answer, does he? I mean, Lodestone Mirror can get to like 3/6/6. That's not good enough. Lodestone Mirror plus Dismember, maybe?
Well, he doesn't have the mana for that anymore.
No, not that he committed to the Glenhawk Idol. Only land for this turn is a bounce land. Oh, Cloud Elemental.
So if he had exactly 1 more mana here, he would have been able to give the Gust Skimmer flying, and then he would have changed the clock. But
That's true.
instead, he has to settle for
1 short.
one of those situations with that Karoo.
Yeah.
Not really helping him.
He can potentially survive to get another turn. It's going to be hard. Annihilator's going to really sting.
Well, I believe that Flamekin gives creatures trample, doesn't it?
Oh, that's a good point. You're right. It does. Totally does.
So here we come in for...
He's attacking with the Flamekin, though?
He's attacking with the Flamekin.
So Gust Skimmer can actually block the Flamekin, thus allowing a potential chump block on the Crusher next turn.
Right. I think that's what the play Jack has to make. Probably sacrifice 2 islands here and then chump block with the Skimmer.
Yeah, Annihilator means 2 islands.
Yep.
Gust Skimmer, oh, he just takes it. Takes 10.
Well, now he's turned off his Dismember now.
And there's Gorehorn Minotaurs. Jack Kiefer has 8 power worth of flyers, but he draws a flyer. Don't see where the last 2 points are coming from, though.
No. With that Flamekin still on the table, he does not have, I don't think, any outs.
Close game.
Although that Lodestone Mirror can get a lot of toughness. It's just not quite enough. And with no white mana, activate those. Well, I guess you can tap any artifact for it.
Yeah,
so
any artifact.
you know he can do a lot of blocking next turn, but just not enough. The Cloud Elemental can't block anything. Yep.
Yeah, Jack sees it. He knows he's going to die to the trample damage, so he scoops them up. Let's go to game 2. We can also take a look in on Matt Costa on the back table from the Pantheon. 6-0-1. So these players are undefeated, but not unblemished records.
They do each have a draw.
That also means that the winner clinches day 2. The loser has to win next round.
And Paul showing that powerful interaction with the Smoke Raider and the Aether Snipe.
So good.
And Matt Costa showing the powerful interaction of a Mole Drifter and 5
5
lands.
mana.
5 mana in this case, only 3 lands. There's a Plaxcaster Frogling.
Yeah, he's blue-green. I mean, 1 swamp in the deck and an Orzhov Basilica, but basically a blue-green deck.
You see that nameless inversion in his graveyard? See that? What you usually get from black is a little removal. What about Paul? Do we have his list? He looks like he's probably just blue-red.
Blue and red. Yep.
He does have a Azorius Chancery.
Yeah.
It's probably...
I think he's the white splash. Not really a splash. Apostle's Blessing you can technically play anyway.
Right.
Gives him the ability to not always pay 2 life for it. And not always pay 2 life for his Blinding Soul Eater.
That's nice. So these players getting into that situation we see in this format a lot, where they've both got a lot of powerful stuff and are establishing boards, but neither of them is really attacking. You know, they're both at 20 life here, with tons of mana on Matt Costa's side of the table.
Mole Drifter can attack, right? It's the only flyer.
Okay, next turn, yeah.
How about we go back to the first match?
Yep, I think this one will be a little more interesting later. It's going to go on for a little while. Slower start this time for Jack.
Yeah, 12-year-old Jack Kiefer from Colorado. Would love to draft tomorrow. Would love to be the only brother making day 2. Well, he probably would have rather had his brothers with him, but
At this point, he's trying to
pretty
make the
sure if
family
only
proud.
one of you and your brothers gets to make day 2, you want it to be you.
So this is interesting. Jack doesn't really have a follow-up threat. He doesn't even have another color of mana, but he does have a cryptic command in his hand. So next turn he's going to play that island, and it's going to look like, oh, I just don't have the right mana to play anything.
Right.
Because I kept a goofy hand. And Daniel Forster is probably going to have some nice 4-drop he can cast here, and it's going to get caught by that cryptic command.
Got the 4th land. Gorehorn Minotaurs?
It looks like a Minotaur's in his hand. Now, if Daniel has 2 good 2-drops here and he decides he wants to play that instead.
Wow,
sort
he
of-
is.
That's nice. He works around a little bit.
Daniel Forster. I don't know if he sniffed it out or just preferred. Wow, he chose Aquastrain Spriter over Gorehorns.
Well, I mean, Jack's not playing anything, so he could also be playing around something like Stoic Rebuttal or Mana Leak.
Or Mana Leak. Yeah, Mana
Yeah.
Leak was the card I thought of that maybe he's like, all right, if you have a Mana Leak, I want you to get my Aquastrain Spriter. I'll offer the sacrifice to the Mana Leak gods.
At this point, I think Jack probably just has to use that Dismember. He's taking so much damage that the Dismember is going to drop him down really low. But he chooses to stick with it. See Jack start to grip that cryptic command. He knows something's coming.
Give me a spell I can dismiss.
Yeah, he just has to do it. He can't not make a play this turn. Nice
White
pair of
mana.
draws for Jack.
Cloud Elemental keeps chipping away. Now what? No Vigil Sages. No, 4/4 seems like a good blocker here.
So this is a 4/4 with Graft, and then it can, does it remove 2 +1/+1 counters to draw a card?
Indeed.
And you can remove it from any creatures that you control. There we go. It's the block.
Daniel just wanted to get through a hit so that he can drop Gorehorn finally.
Yep, all that tapped mana.
Oh, and Burst Lightning to finish off the Sages. Yeah, pretty good
Interesting.
turn here for
He
Daniel
could have just
Forster.
burst lightninged with Kicker and killed the Sages, but he said, you know what, I'd rather also upgrade my 2/2 to a 5/5. Jack, though, going to be able to dismember that 5/5. Wait till Daniel's turn. Cathodian probably a pretty tempting Sundering Vitae target.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you totally blow it away on this board.
First, protect it from Mana Leak. That's what Daniel's thinking. He'd like to get that bounce land into play, but
Interesting. Taps the Gnarlid pack in order to play around the Mana Leak. Means he won't get any attack for 2, but means his Sundering Vitae does resolve.
after
Remember, though,
after seeing this Dismember, he's going to be upset that he didn't get the 2 damage in, because now
Yeah.
Jack goes down to 6. That 2 would have been a third of his remaining life. There. But it does get him closer to Ulamog's Crusher. That's what he's thinking. He doesn't want to have his come to play tap land be the one when he wants to play Crusher.
yeah, he'll only have 7 next turn, though. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Could
he
have played
waited.
Untap Basic there, do the Gruul Turf next turn.
Ooh, wow. That
Mirror
does change the
Entity.
race.
Cloud Elemental attacked for the 5th time.
All of a sudden, Jack Keever looking like he might be able to turn this around. Especially if he can draw a red mana.
I mean, if Mirror Entity can hit here,
Ooh.
it's lethal.
Yeah, but a red mana would have helped him. It would have picked off that Gnarl Pact, and then he could have been lethal. No red mana for Jack. Also, some red mana comes into play tapped anyway. We know
Yes,
that
it
they're
does.
all bounce lands.
Just the cloud element in front of you.
But he's going to get to play another flyer this turn and threaten lethal next turn without removal. So, yeah. Set that white mana aside in case he needs it. No.
What's his flyer? A hover guard?
Yeah,
He
he
just declined
has
to play. He played Rune
he has a
Servitor.
a
it's
Fairy
Mechanist.
Mechanist, but he wants to hold mana up from Mirror Entity, which it's going to turn out it's not going to work out very well for him because suddenly his opponent's going to have an 8/8 that he has to block and sacrifice lands to, and sacrificing lands is not a thing you want to do when you have a Mirror Entity in play.
Yeah, he also could have attacked with the Mirror Entity, which obliges Daniel Forster to block with Gnarlid Pack.
Yep.
Spend his mana activating Mirror Entity, hitting for damage, and killing the Gnarlid Pack.
Yeah, that would have been an option. Although Daniel, with all that open mana,
That's
maybe
fair.
Jack's
That is a risky attack into that.
scared
much
of a
untapped
lightning
mana.
bolt or, you know. Looks like Daniel might have a burst lightning in his hand.
All right. Daniel attacks in. Jack spends his mana having Rune Servitor go large to eat the Gnarlid Pack.
Now Jack did this nicely because now even if the burst lightning hits the Mirror Entity, the Rune Servitor still is going to trade with the pack. So the other block would have been I'll block with Mirror Entity first and then activate, and then he can just kill the Mirror Entity in response.
And meanwhile, the way Daniel's mana works out, this is the turn where he's got 8. He doesn't really want to spend a mana on a Burst Lightning. He wants to spend 8 mana on an Ulamog's Crusher.
Yeah. And there you see it. He has to play the Burst Lightning because otherwise he's just dead. Oh, and Keith draws
Red mana.
Jack Keefer draws the untapped red mana, the only one in his deck, and finishes off with the Burst Lightning.
On to game 3.
On to game 3.
Kid gets there. Oh, and the
Yes.
shuffle cam. Can we get an update on the Matt Costa match in the back?
So that was
All I know is that game 1 appears to be over.
it appeared to be going on for a long time.
Yep. Sounds like Matt Costa was the one who ultimately took game 1.
Managed to maneuver that complicated board state in his own advantage. It did look like he was ahead on board. He had the the Maul Drifter that could attack. His opponent had a lot of cards, but so did he. So that Mirror Entity, a really interesting card in that last game, really changed the way that Daniel had to play. After that attack and the Mirror Entity activation, it looked like he could just play an Ulamog's Crusher and have the biggest creature on the board, but the Mirror Entity affects all creatures, and Jack had played that extra creature, so he could just attack with all his guys and pump them, and all of a sudden it's sort of like an overrun effect. Pump all my guys if I have a lot of mana. So, really neat card, fits into a lot of strategies in this format. It can pump your tokens. It's a shapeshifter, so it can work with spirit effects. It triggers all those spirit triggers. You can get it back with Soul Shift.
It's also just really, really good. Just all
Yep.
by itself. Like as a creature that you can summon and attack with aside other creatures.
Yeah, for a 3-mana 1/1, it is pretty darn powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel and Jack drawing up their opening hands. Looks like they're going to keep.
Jack is going to slightly smoother mana, it looks like, this game. He has both his colors, his major colors. Daniel, meanwhile, missing, not showing green mana, but looks like he has some Burst Lightnings to buy time here.
Burst Lightning number 1. Even buys him a card.
Yeah, fires one off so that he can potentially dig to that forest. Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Does not work out for him.
No, does not.
Jack also, I think, is going to miss this land
Oh,
drop.
wow. They both missed this land drop? Jack
Yeah.
has a Glass Tusk Husk. He can cycle.
He can, but I think he might prefer to just play a Glinthawk
Play
this
Glinthawk.
turn.
Reasonable.
And
There's the forest
Daniel
for
finds
Daniel.
his forest. All right. Now we can play. All right. Oxygen Spider, pretty good here. Can block that Glinthawk. Jack Keeper also draws his third land. They're getting it going. And
Interesting.
the other Burst Lightning takes down that Glinthawk.
Is that better than trading Orchestrated Spider? Do you have to pay mana to active the spider activated reach?
Yeah, you have to
Oh,
pay
it-
green
it-
mana, so he couldn't
Got
do
it.
it there.
Yeah, he couldn't have reach there.
And of course, the Glinthawk,
Spider, it should just be able to block.
it really should. It's a strange phenomenon. It has to fit with the theme of grafting on and then giving the ability, you know?
Got it.
Second sweater from Daniel.
Is it a third burst lightning?
Oh my god. So, interesting play by Daniel here. He wants to have a 3-3 so he can block that Cathodian without having to risk a double block.
Yeah, I was gonna say the double. He was gonna get blown out by the double block.
He was. You saw him think about it for a while.
Yeah, I mean, if he had 2/2/2s, you would double block, and then Dismember would just wreck you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, what does Jack want to offer a trade with his Cathodian? Does he want to Dismember the 3/3?
He's trying to figure out if he can save that mana till his second main phase, which he can't. But if he could, it would be pretty great to cast that last test Hulk.
Looks like he's going to offer the trade.
He's probably also thinking about. He's probably also thinking about whether to just take out that Aquatrans Spider with a Dismember.
Foil Gust Skimmer?
That's a foil Gust Skimmer. Jack representing a mana leak here. It looks like he maybe has a foil one in his hand. Yep, he does. Is that what that is? No, it's not. You would think he would play the Cloud Elemental there. But I guess the Cloud Elemental can't really get through that 3/3 reach anyway.
Kozilek Predator for Daniel.
Oh, well, Daniel missed that land drop. He really looked like he was behind, but all of a sudden Jack hasn't been able to punish him because of those burst lightnings were so effective defensively. And Daniel now suddenly has 6 mana, and it's looking like he's going to be able to start casting Eldrazi soon. Interesting turn for Jack, debating, does he play a Squirter, get another flyer out there? Does he play Dismember and Cloud Elemental? He could also play Glass Dust Hulk, although the Hulk not very exciting right now. He has no more artifacts to trigger it.
Looks like that is the play. No, Helium Squirter. Okay.
Squirter, yeah. Now he can't attack because he can't give Gust Skimmer flying, so he just passes the turn back. Daniel looking like he's in the driver's seat suddenly. He's got the biggest creature on the board. But he has another Burst Lightning in his hand, doesn't
His
he?
hand looks insane. Daniel has Burst Lightning, Celestia Guildmage, and Ulamage Crusher.
Yeah. 3 Burst Lightnings. That is exciting.
Four Kozilek Predator is going to get his attack on. Jack does not want to risk a double block.
And probably wise on his part. And that Burst Lightning can also go to the face here, Jack. Dropping to 12.
Goes for the Guildmage. Taps both his green mana to do it.
Has to.
Oh, of course.
Now, that stream of little 1/1s probably isn't a big deal for Jack Kiefer. There is the Glass Dust Hulk. And will he graft onto it?
Meanwhile, Matt Costa has won his match.
Moving to that'll lock him up for
Yeah, 7-0-1
Yeah.
at this point. And draw kind of like a loss in terms of advancement to day 2. but it's kind of like a win in terms of advancement to top 8. I mean, he's still got a loss to give, essentially.
Right, exactly. Whereas
The players with
X
one
and
loss
2,
basically don't. Yeah. I mean, somebody's going to sneak into the top 8 at X and 2, maybe a couple of somebodies, but it's going to be like 2 people from a 10-way tie.
right.
You want to control your own destiny? Think of the tournament as double OM.
A little bit like the classic PTQ setup.
Sure.
If you want to make top 8, X1 and 1.
Exactly.
The X, the number of wins, much larger in this case.
Only 14,000 people, 15 rounds. No problem. You just got to go X1-1.
So what's happening here is Jack has played the Glass Dust Hulk, and Daniel Forster is trying to decide whether or not he wants to sacrifice his Eldrazi spawns to burst lightning with Kicker and kill it before it can pick up a graph token.
If he's going to burst lightning it, he has to do it now.
I think they may be getting a ruling actually about whether or not he's allowed to do that. Do you know how this rule works, Randy?
Graph should be triggered, right? Isn't it graph trigger on the stack and then you decide?
Right. I think that's what happens. So he can't wait for the counter. He can't, eliminate the counter. So we'll use it.
If your opponent goes into the tank that long, you definitely lose the counter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now it is a 4/5 Glass Dust Colors. But I mean, Daniel's got Ulamog's Crusher in his hand. He's got 5 lands, so those Eldrazi spawn are mana 6 and 7. He's 1 mana off Ulamog's Crusher. If he sacks them,
he just drew Selesnya, Karoo. So I think he knows next turn he'll be able to play a Crusher.
Yeah.
And the turn after, he'll probably be able to play a Crusher again. No, he's going to make 2 land drops. He'll be at 7 lands. He can sacrifice 1 token to cast the first one and 1 token to cast the second.
Uh-huh.
Somewhat awkwardly, it leaves him with only 4 mana unless he wants to sacrifice a token for that Burst Lightning. So he's thinking about whether to Burst Lightning before.
4/4 attacks into the Glass Dust Husk. Interesting. Daniel very worried about Glass Dust Husk.
It's a pretty scary creature.
To trade Burst Lightning and a 4/4 Coastal Edge Predator for it.
I think Daniel thinking basically, if he doesn't kill me with this evasion creature, I'm going to win with these 2 Crushers. And probably a reasonable assumption.
It does seem like a good plan.
Jack
now he's got a pair of 1/1 potentially reach creatures.
Right.
He's also got the mana to make a token off Guild Mage. What does Jack have?
Well, that Cloud Elemental's been hanging out in his hand for a while. We're going to see that. Jack also has an Expedition map in his hand, it looks like. These players both feeling the edge of that second loss.
Yeah.
Playing very carefully. Jack deciding if he wants to use this map this turn, go find a land and then use that land to play his other spells. Does look like what he's going to do.
Yep.
Now, do you get a bounce land here, or do you get a red land? Yeah, there he gets
Right, I mean, red bounce land has to be tempting.
Right, but this allows him to have 1 mana up for the emergency dismember, which you got to think in this situation is important. Oh, so he's got Tizrit's Gambit in his hand. It's his other card. can also use that blue mana, of course, to get in for 2 damage here, which you may do.
Cloud Elemental's to play.
Not a lot of scary-looking attackers. Ooh,
Graft
big
a
Cloud
token.
Elemental.
Yeah, big Cloud Elemental.
So, nice clock that he's built here. He can attack for 2 flying if he wants. Nope, instead he's going to dismember.
Guildmage does threaten to get out of control. There's even a Celestia Sanctuary to turn the white mana ability
double
on.
it up. I think Jack, though, in for a rough surprise this turn as a Crusher looks like it's going to make its way onto the table. Jack does have a lot of lands. He could probably survive at least 1 attack from a Crusher, assuming it doesn't
17
get
life for
trampled.
Daniel Forster's the problem. Cloud Elemental and
Right.
Gusskimmer are going to need 4 turns as of the current board.
They are going to need some help.
Wow, so Crusher even picks up a Graft token off the Aquastrain Spider.
Wow.
And Daniel chose to sacrifice both his tokens and leave a forest untapped so that he'll have the activated reach ability on that Aquastrain Spider.
Yeah, the idea being, okay, the only way for you to beat my Crusher is to block it repeatedly. So I want to make sure that I can block the creatures that you're attacking me with.
Yeah.
And he did draw a forest, so he knows he had another land, so he's going to be able to cast his little Crusher next turn. Jack Kiefer. I might be tempted to pay the Phyrexian mana there, just to have more options this turn.
Draws Niv Mizzet and Cryptic Command.
Cryptic Command, wow.
Doesn't have the second red for Niv Mizzet.
So, and proliferates. That's nice.
Sure.
So now he doesn't have enough blue to actually cast the Cryptic Command this turn. Wait. Yeah, so looks like Jack is going to have to take a chump block here.
Cloud Elemental's clearly going to attack. Jack has to decide whether he wants to attack with Gusskimmer.
I think Cloud Elemental, Gusskimmer, and the Graft creature all are going to attack. Well, Gusskimmer, I guess, holding back since he knows it can just trade. Jack's setting up kind of an interesting play here. He doesn't realize it. Oh, look at this.
Oh no! Aquastrain Spider gives reach to anybody with a +1/+1 counter. Ulamog's Crusher has a +1/+1 counter. Jack walked right into it.
He sure did.
Daniel Forster dug a hole for him, laid some branches over it, built the perfect trap.
And there it was.
Caught
So
himself, Jack Kiefer.
if Jack had a better, racing situation here and Daniel's life were a little bit lower, you might see that really incredible Cryptic Command play where you tap everything to draw a card. There you see the spider.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, he's just in jump block mode. 9/9 Crusher.
Daniel Forster, knowing his deck well, he is engineered this game very, very cleverly.
Yeah, he has. Your second Ulamog's Crusher.
Jack stuck with not enough mana to play his Cryptic Command. Now he does have the tap all your creatures play, but is it going to be good
Daniel's
enough?
at 15.
Yep. So the play here has to be, attack with both my flyers, Cryptic Command all your guys on your turn.
Yeah.
And draw a card and hope that it is a really, really good card. Like another Cryptic Command.
Yep. Daniel's got to suspect something's up.
There's
There
combat. There it is.
Tap all your
Tap
creatures. Presumably he's going to draw a card.
No, it looks like he wants to bounce that
Oh,
Crusher.
bounce Crusher.
And that Crusher's just going to come
Yeah,
right
just
back
comes
out.
back.
However, it can no longer block flyers. I'm not sure that
True.
really matters.
Yeah, it seems like draw a card might have at least gives you. I don't know what you're trying to draw. This board position seems pretty problematic.
Yeah, I almost think you do have to have another Cryptic Command. Or you draw 2 cards because you draw on your main phase and you draw a Narcolepsy and a Narcolepsy. Or an Arrest and a Narcolepsy.
Jack Kiefer draws. Rakdos Carnarium.
Rakdos Carnarium. That is not going to cut it, I think.
Yeah. Could get Niv Mizzet down next turn, but I don't think there's going to be a next turn.
Looks like he's going to have to chump block 2 Crushers, lose 4 of the permanents. He's not going to have enough mana left to cast it. Yeah.
Looks like Daniel Forster. A whole carload of buddies from Washington State. Still in contention. He's going to win this one and go find out how his buddies are doing. Do we all get to draft tomorrow?
So you see
Explain
Jack.
to his buddies, I got to play this. I get to play a feature match too. Got paired against a 12-year-old kid who's 6-1 playing for day 2.
12-year-old kid who's played pretty well.
He has.
You know, he's got a great deck.
I don't know that it doesn't matter how old you are. Dealing with 2 Ulamog's Crushers is hard.
Yep.
Really
tough.
Very good cards, and Daniel Forster is through to day 2. He's 7-1. He wins game 3 here, and there you see the smile.
Yeah, you might have seen it slightly differently, you know, if you hadn't thrown away that flyer, but still, it's too hard for Jack to get a lot of damage in against those Crushers. He can only buy 1 turn with the Cryptic Command. And here we have our King of the Hill match.
Yeah, Neil Oliver held the crown for a while today, but it's been changing hands just about every round since Neil finally lost. Alan Lee is the current holder of our King of the Hill title. Leads with a Mortar Pod into an Alloy Mirror.
That start.
Telling time for Joe Shapiro.
Yep, we see him sorting out which 3 cards will go where. What do you think of Telling Time?
I mean, it's playable. I don't think it's exciting.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's a little bit too forceful in what I do with my cards. What if I want all of them to go on the bottom, you know? I just one in my hand.
But I mean, it's pretty, I don't know, slippery. There's always you're always going to find time to cast it.
It's true.
It improves your draw phase a little bit.
Yep.
Not an exciting
Certainly
card,
playable.
but yeah, playable.
So, Alan Lee creating a pretty significant board presence here with just tokens. He's got a Germ and 3 insects and trading some removal. But Aether Snipe puts a stop to that. Can't attack through that guy.
So big.
You know, you feel like you're ahead. Suddenly your opponent gets to 6 mana and plays an Aether Snipe. The whole scene changes. Elementals. We've seen a couple of really nice blue-red elemental decks.
We have. Joseph has, he's got a Banefire, Burst Lightning, Hellkite Charger. Not a bad start to a red deck, right?
Yeah, really.
Lightning Bolt, good lord. Smoke Braider and Soulbright Flamekin are the elementals in red. 2 Aether Snipes and an Air Servant. And a Guile and a Muldrifter. Vendilion Click.
Muldrifter. Very exciting card. You see an interesting block there where the token blocks a 2/2 and another token blocks a bigger creature. You get sacrificed. Mortar Pod, very effective.
Travel Flames takes out the Alloy Mirror, but then Aether Snipe is still 4/4.
It's hard to kill an Aether Snipe with a Mortar Pod.
Oh, and draw 2 from a full-price Muldrifter.
That has got to be scary for Alan. Alan looking for a Savage Twister, maybe? 4/4 would help. Now a 4/5 with the Mortar Pod.
That helps. It's a relevant point of toughness here. It just eats an Aether Snipe, right?
Yep. And
Is it
yeah,
just a mistaken attack?
it looks like Joe realizes afterwards.
Oh, well, whatever. He had to Banefire for the win, so. Banefire gets it done. Joe Shapiro would love to go to 8-0. These guys are 7-0 so far. There's only 1 round left after this, so they know they're going to be drafting. The question is, what table are they going to be drafting at? A win here and a win next round, you're drafting on table 1.
Yep. And will they still be live for top 8, right? That's open question.
Yep.
If you have 2 losses,
Yeah, starting day
possible,
2 with 2 losses, you're probably not making top 8, but you can still qualify for the Pro Tour.
Right.
Everybody with an X2 record qualifies for the Pro Tour.
Oh, look at this.
It's funny, Pro Tour Vancouver is actually going to be like 50 players bigger than it would be if it wasn't for this weekend.
Because of this
so many
weekend.
people are going to qualify at X2.
Yeah, that's wild. Oh, you saw the Dragon Scale Knight come in and actually just get pumped and hit.
water servant. That guy can hit pretty hard.
Sure can.
Jeez, there's the Muldrifter again.
That is such a card. And here we go. There is a gigantic Kavu Primarch. No Convoke needed. Just make a 7/7. Aether Snipe. Wow.
7/7, hit you.
Burst Lightning eats the evasion creature, so not only just trying to stabilize. Looks like he had a mana heavy hand, but it does mean his powerful cards can be played.
Oh,
like that one.
Savage Twister. Solid 2 for 1.
Was pretty savage. 2 very good cards. And he avoids that situation of, just getting... It looks like his life total is probably pretty low at this point. Just getting, one more removal spell if he plays his Kavu Primarch. Cathodian Telling Time. And the Flamekin.
Kavu Primarch coming back. Kavu Primarch coming back.
There it is.
Has Alan Lee managed to turn the corner and stabilize?
Yes, he has. No attack from Trishpiro. And there's another gigantic creature.
Yeah, Rukin puts the extra +1/+1 counter on the Primarch, too.
Now, how does that work?
When it comes into play, anybody with a +1/+1 counter
Gets
an
another counter.
additional one.
Yep.
Oh, Lightning Bolt your face. Extra mana, extra mana, extra mana. How big is that Banefire?
Banefire, oh my god.
Alan Lee shows off the Karn that he had queued up for next turn, but Banefire gets the job done.
Banefire for quite a lot.